Hi, Voices of the Bench community. I'm Laura Prosser, the digital marketing manager here for Ivoclar North America, and I would like to invite you to start following us on Instagram. It's your chance to obtain exclusive updates on product announcements, industry news, upcoming educational events, and heartwarming stories about our local team and industry professionals. So let's get social together. Simply start following us on Instagram at ivoclar.na. That's Instagram at ivoclar.na. We'll see you there.
Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Greetings and welcome to episode 364 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
My name's Barbara. You're sounding a little raspy, partner.
It's just an early morning. I don't know. I was sounding fine a minute ago until we started doing this.
Are you over the vid?
I am. I'm completely over. I'm back working. I've gone on multiple runs.
Good.
Consider myself healthy again.
All right. And consider yourself lucky that it was 2 weeks before you leave for IDS. So.
But you know what? Barb, we have a very exciting thing to celebrate today.
I know.
This is pretty cool. So let's do some simple math. There's 52 weeks every year.
Yep.
That's roughly 52 Mondays. We have released an episode of this podcast every Monday, and we've never missed one.
Wow.
So...
Okay, divide it.
Yep, if you take 364 and you divide it by 52, that gives us a nice round number of 7. So that tells us we are celebrating 7 years of doing Voices from the Bench.
7 years is ridiculous, and happy effing birthday to
Birthday, anniversary. Not really sure what we would call it. It doesn't seem like it's a day past 6.5 years, let me tell you.
True that, and we've been very focused. It's, some weeks hasn't been easy, some weeks I've missed, some weeks we've had to move around, but every single week I really enjoy talking to somebody new, hearing their story, and it's just so much fun.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure of ours to do what we do. And we can't do this enough, but we're going to take a quick hot minute to thank everyone that's ever listened to us.
Yep.
Everyone that's been on the podcast. And especially those very special people that have sponsored us.
Yeah.
This helped this little thing that Barb and I, we decided to do 7 years ago just because we love our industry so much.
And we're really not 7 years older, actually. We're the same age.
Yeah, actually younger. Podcasting is the secret of youth.
Yes, it is. And we have no plans of slowing down, maybe even doing bigger and better things in the future. And I know what you're going to talk about now, so go for it.
Well, of course, because in the very near future... like in less than 2 weeks, we're at IDS March 25th, and for 4 full days, we're going to be recording at the biggest dental show in the world, of course, at the great people of exocad at their booth.
Thank you, exocad, again, for the millionth time.
And a million more to follow.
Yep.
And if you do find yourself at IDS, come on and head over to us. We're at Hall 1. We're going to be in the big sea of people wearing purple. Come by, say hi, and get on the podcast.
And that's if we find out where we're going. So
Hall 1 is all I'm remembering. So after that, we'll see.
I like that it's 1 because I'm hoping that it's as soon as you walk in the door, you're at 1. So that's in my brain what I'm thinking.
That's assuming they only have one door.
No, and,
oh, boy. This week we are, of course, taking a break from the Lab Day episodes because for the 7th time, we welcome back our very first guest that started all of this, Renata Budny.
Hi, yes.
Renata is at the New York City College of Technology in their Restorative Dentistry Department. Now, that's a fancy way of saying their dental lab department. Renata is just one of the team that teaches about 60 students a year all the ways of dental technology.
And that's a lot of students.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
But this year, she brings on 2 international students to talk about their experiences at the school. So first is Sevastiani Perselis, who has graduated and was already back in Greece where she runs a lab with her father. We're also joined by Rebca Nikedemos, who is from Ethiopia that is currently in her first year at the school. So both of them come on to share their journey to finding the school, what it's like attending, and for Seva, what life is like in Greece after the school.
Right.
And for Rebca, what dental technology is like in Ethiopia and how she's going to change it when she graduates.
Love.
So join us as we chat with Renata Budny, Seva Perselis, and Rebca Nikedemos.
Are you a dental lab in need of more talent to improve your bottom line and keep production on schedule? Are you a dental tech with great skills but feel you're being limited at your current lab? Well, the answer is here. Hi, I'm Mark from Win-Win Go, and this is precisely why Win-Win Go was created. The dental lab and dental tech community needed a place where labs and technicians can meet, talk about their needs, and connect in ways that foster a win-win outcome. As a tech, if you're ready to make a change, thinking about moving in the next year, or just curious what's out there, sign up today. It's totally free. As a lab, you might be feeling the frustration of paying the big employment sites so much and getting so few tech candidates. We understand. They don't much care about our industry. WinWinGo.com is simply the best place for lab techs and lab owners to actively engage in creating their ideal future. WinWinGo.com. How dental techs find paradise.
Voices from the Bench. The interview. Well, Barb, it's time to light the candles and have Renata blow them out once again. We are back for our 7th year anniversary. And of course, we welcome back for the 7th time our very first guest, the one who decided these people aren't as crazy as they sound.
There they are.
Renata Budny, welcome back. How are you?
I wish I had like the whole orchestra here, guys, for you. I'm wonderful. I can't believe it's 7 years already.
No doubt. Oh my God.
Kind of insane. And every year that I go to Chicago, I remember it was at CDT Fest where we're like, hey, you interested? And you're like, what the heck? And I actually couldn't even make the connection work. It was you that got it to work. And thus the first episode was
I said the same
born.
thing, Renata. I'm
And
like,
you guys
what?
are doing amazing. Your podcasts are just taking you through the world and back, and we are so
Woo.
happy you're doing them.
Thank you. You have 2 students that you're
Yes.
bringing on today. I'm going to let Elvis introduce them.
Well, I'm going to do my best here. So, Renata, I mean, we love you, but if we talk to you every
I know.
year by yourself for
Boring.
7 years, you'd probably
Yeah.
it'd get kind of bored. Yeah, not much happens. I get it. So you always bring with you fantastic guests, and this year, I think we got some stellar ones. So, Sevastiani.
Yes, hi.
Oh yes. Go ahead and say your full name. I'm not even going to try with the last.
Okay, my name is Sevastiani Perselis.
Perselis. That's not that bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perselis.
And you come to us from Greece, but you
From
went to the
Greece?
New York City College of Technology. Am I saying that right?
Amazing.
Yes,
Right.
you did. Bravo, Elvis.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
And then also joining us is Rebca Nikedemos.
Close.
Almost.
No.
Announce yourself. Say it
I
yourself.
know, okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebca Nikedemos.
Nice.
Nikedemos.
Rebca. I
Almost.
love
It's
your
spelled Nike Demos, though.
That-
I'm just
exactly.
saying, I am throwing that out there. It's not me, it's everybody else. So how is everybody?
name. Yeah, what is your nationality, real quick?
I'm originally Ethiopian.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah.
love your name.
Thank you.
Love it. Beautiful. Okay,
Very
sorry, Elvis. Go.
Sevastianian, no. Sevastiani.
For short, you
What-
can call me Seva.
Seva?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's really good.
Yeah.
I think he can
Don't
do
call me
that.
Seva because it's a long name, you know.
Yes, I'm writing this down.
Okay.
Okay, so Seva,
Mhm.
you are in Greece, but I think you've already gone through this school.
Yes.
Give us your story. Let's start with you, since
Yeah.
you've already graduated. How did you find out about a school in New York?
Okay, so first I came to America when I was in sixth grade. So I left home pretty young. So I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really know.
Yeah.
I just only wanted, I knew that I didn't want to leave home.
Can you give me the short story? Why'd you guys leave?
So we left because my father and my mom wanted us to go to school and do something that we love.
Aw.
So I had the opportunity. My mom is American, so she made me and my sister American from little.
Yeah. She gave your father a little nudge and said, "We're moving."
But it was my father's idea to go to America because he was
Aw.
because my mom knew the life in America. It was very like stressful. Like you don't really have time for yourself. You're always. It's kind of like rush always.
Oh, nonstop.
I don't
work too much.
disagree.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
I do not disagree. Okay.
my dad is a dental technician. He's been a dental technician for 30 years now.
Wow.
So I was looking up to him since I was 7 years old. So it was something that I didn't really know and looked at myself to become something else than a dental technician because I was always in my father's shoes and like everywhere with him and in the lab because he's been owning a lab in Rhodes in Greece for around 1996.
Wow.
So
Wow.
So you grew up in the lab? You played with stuff? He
yeah,
put you to work?
yes. I basically I remember when I was little, I remember the smell when I was walking
Oh
into
yeah.
my father's lab, the smell of
Yep.
acrylic, and it just
Uh-huh.
brings me back so many memories. Since this day, I go in the lab and I'm like, this acrylic smell is so good.
I bet it brings you back from when you were super young and went in the lab and smelled it. I know
Yeah.
we talked to a lot of people and they remember that smell distinctly.
Start selling it in candles here pretty soon.
Oh no.
I really don't want to. But so yeah, we came to America around 2013. My dad started working in a Greek lab just to start off. He actually went first to America so he could start working, so we could have like a stable job, so we as a family could go. And then me and my sister went. It was very hard in the beginning, to adjust. The food, everything was different.
Different good or different bad? I'm curious on your take on that.
You know, there's no other like the food in Greece.
Yeah.
The oil, the everything, the veggies, everything is very different from
Yeah.
America.
Not as much fried food from what I
Nothing's
understand.
fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agree.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But I got used to it,
Yeah.
you know. I didn't have any other choice, you know, like I was little. But I got used to it, and you know, I finished high school, and then the only school that I was really interested in and had the program that I wanted to become a dental technician was New York City College of Technology.
Aw.
So I tried my best to get into the school. I tried my best to get into the program. The professors, my classmates were very friendly. I'm very thankful for them since now, you know. And it was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster for me.
You were also during COVID.
Oh,
Yeah,
COVID,
it was
yes.
during COVID.
She
Yeah.
graduated in 2022, so she was that cohort that had to go through the
Yeah.
workplace.
Oh my God.
It was hard. It was hard. But we got used to it. Everything worked well. I'm very happy that I got the opportunity to go to that school to meet those professors. Everybody was amazing. You know, I love them I love them dearly. You know, and I'm never gonna forget what they
Aw.
taught me.
Mm.
You know, it's very touching. You know, and yeah, I came back home because I had the lab here, my father's lab.
I was going to ask. So you went to school and you guys moved to America, but then somewhere
Mm-hmm.
between you going to the university,
Somewhere.
they moved back to Greece.
Mm-hmm. Correct. I graduated and I moved back to Greece. The reason why I left little. I didn't really enjoy my friends, my grandparents, my cousins here back home. I always had the mindset to just come back home.
Wow.
And the most important thing that was in my mind was I have a lab that's all mine.
Yeah, I'm digging that.
It's the future is there for me, and that's pretty much it. I was in that mindset.
At what point did your parents move back to Greece and open the lab up after you guys moved to the US?
So actually, my sister left first America, and then it was me, and then my parents. So my parents were last.
Wow.
So actually, my mom was last. My dad came, he was the third to come. So when he came, we opened the lab. It was closed for 10 years, so it was hard to start again. But my dad and I worked very hard to get the dentist that my dad was working with for 30
Wow.
years. And I went out and I got new doctors in my age, kind of, like new doctors that just open.
Perfect.
Because that's the future. That's my future, and that's what you gotta do. You gotta go out and you gotta
kick it.
sell what you got,
Yeah.
And work. And if something doesn't work, then be thankful that you just got the opportunity to just go and but you gotta try things. If you don't try things, you will never know.
Agree. That's well said
sure.
for a young lady. Totally agree. Well, good for you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So yeah, that's my story.
Awesome.
All right.
Next.
Rebca.
It's Rebca.
Rebca. All right, Rebca.
Yep.
Let's hear your story.
Well, my story goes, my grandfather was the first dental clinic owner in Ethiopia. And
what, the first ever?
First ever in Ethiopia, yes. He was the first dentist.
That is crazy.
What year was that?
So a little before 1975. Not too,
wow.
I mean, it hasn't been too long, but it's been a long while at the same time.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
So after he got his clinic, he then proposed to my mom saying, hey, why don't you own your own clinic? And she would be the first female clinic owner in Ethiopia.
What the?
It's a family
you got some
business.
Shoes to fill, young lady.
I know.
We almost have royalty on this thing.
That's great.
Not too long ago after COVID, I went back home because my parents, as they were getting older, somebody had to help them. And once I went back to Ethiopia, because I was here for school, they were like, hey, why don't you help us? And I did, at least the business side of it. And then I realized in the lab, we have a lab attached to our clinic, that we had foreigners coming in and working for us, and sometimes it would be very hard to keep them at the lab because they would get a better offer somewhere else, and so there would always be, it was like a revolving door. And my dad was like, hey, like, why don't you try finding a school and you become the technician? And I'm like, well, okay, if you say so. I don't know what makes you think that I would be a good technician, but he's like, don't try. And I did apply, and I was lucky enough to get into the program. And this is my second semester, so I have yet to finish the program. But so far, I've been having so much fun. You're meeting a lot of interesting people, and the professors tell you about all their experience and the fact that they get to travel. You're not just sitting at a desk. If you're really good at what you're doing, you get to travel the world explaining to people what you do and how to do it.
Yeah.
So I found that very interesting. And yeah, here I am, second semester student at CUNY.
First year.
Oh yeah, this is first year. Yeah, this is
so
first.
It's only your first year. So give us your take on it. Like, what's it like starting dental technology school in those first month?
It's so scary.
Especially someplace like New York.
It's so scary at first because you're like, am I doing this right? Am I making a mistake? And then you have the professor just like, oh, this is not a big deal. Restart again or do this again. You're just like, oh no, it took me what takes, the professor's 2 minutes takes us like 6 hours to do. So when they're like, start over, or it's kind of nerve-wracking at first, but then once you realize, oh wait, this is just, wax, you can restart, you can redo it, And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So yeah, like I said, it was scary at first, but now we're okay. Now now we're actually getting a little cocky.
I like that though.
Yeah,
How you say it's just wax, or it's
yeah,
not just wax, but it is wax, and you can
right.
fix it,
You
or
could
you can
fix
tweak
it.
it.
Yeah, and this is how you learn, right? We're here to learn. So mistakes you make are going to be your learning curves here. So
Mhm.
the professors don't use it against you in a sense that they'll be like, "Oh, I'm glad you made this mistake." Usually the mistakes will be used as an example in class so that other students don't make the mistake.
Yeah, love
So
it.
it's not like they don't make a big deal out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make a big deal out of it to learn.
To learn.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and I love when students make mistakes.
Yeah.
I've said it before.
Yeah.
It's great.
Mistakes are fine. I'm
Yeah.
curious. You're in Ethiopia and you're Googling dental technology schools.
Yeah.
How does one in New York show up? I mean, aren't there a ton of schools in
Yes.
that part of the hemisphere?
Yes, there
I
are.
mean,
There are a lot of schools. There are programs that let you finish in like 6 months, or I saw one in Thailand that's like for 2 months. And I'm like, what am I going to learn in 2 months?
yeah.
Wow.
Somebody had 1-to-1
2
that was
months.
3 years, but they want once a day a week for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, that's a
There's
long
some
time.
interesting programs
Yeah.
out there, yeah, for sure. But once I started, going deep dive into like what is actually the right type of program, CUNY just stood out. It was,
Ooh.
yeah. I mean, you have the 2-year program. It's taught. This is one of the oldest program
It is the oldest.
in the U.S. So it wasn't. After a while, you're like, all right, I know what school I have to try to get into. But definitely, you get a very interesting list of schools: 2 months, 3 years.
I bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
And she chose us.
Yes.
We are very lucky.
Yeah. Renata, I've got to ask this question. So we do this every year for 7 years. And for the last, 5, we've asked you to please bring on students. And I love the way your brain works, and we text back and forth. How did you choose these 2 young ladies?
Well, we have 3 students right now who are international students.
Yeah.
I think one from Europe, one from Korea, one from Ethiopia, and then we had a couple of students that came from the past. So I figured might be interesting for you to hear from the student that already graduated and it's successful in what she's doing and stayed in a field in another country. And then Rebca, I spoke with her in the first semester, and she just started, and I thought Ethiopia is very exotic country for us because we've had students from Europe, we have students from Asia, but here's Ethiopia. That's like very original. And the other 2 students are in the second year, so I usually handle first year students in my classes. So it's just
Wow.
easier to just ask Rebca, and she agreed. So I thought, here's the perspective of first year student who's in the program, and here is the perspective of a graduate who graduated and successful after finishing the program.
So you literally own this episode, finally. It's not Elvis.
Yay! It took 7 years.
I'm happy to pass it
I'm
along.
serious. I
I'm
think
so
that's
proud of
great.
you guys. 7 years. That's a great anniversary. I love it. Congratulations.
Well, I like the way you think.
So, Siva, when you were learning in
Yeah.
Greece, and did
Mhm.
your family move to New York?
So my mom's parents were already there. They were living all their years in America.
Yeah.
So my mom just only moved to Greece. She met my dad in Greece, and that's how she wanted to stay in Greece.
Yes. So when you came to America, you've already kind of learned under your father dental technology. How different was it from when you started in school?
So I was looking from my dad, but when I started in school, it was really something that I never really saw. Like I never really saw and remembered. So when I started school, I
You didn't learn the why from your dad, maybe?
did. I always used to ask him
Yeah, okay.
questions.
Your dad was probably like, "Don't do it, don't do it." I'm just kidding.
Like the first wax ups that I was doing, he was like, okay, like fix this cusp, the marginal groove. Like he was telling me, and the setups of the dentures that the first semester I did. It was a good, oh my God, I'm freezing out. Sorry.
You've been in Greece for too long.
Mm-hmm.
It's 11 p.m., y'all. I wouldn't even be up right now.
That's what I said.
It's 4 p.m. in America.
Yeah.
It was so my dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, were you looking for the word mentor?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Okay, good. That's
yes,
what I was
yes.
thinking you were thinking.
I forgot my English as well.
Yes, I love that. My dad was my mentor, just so you know.
Yeah, so it was a big help. It was a big help, and not only my father, but the professors as well. I was listening to the professors a lot. Their, like Rebca said, their experiences.
Did you feel like an automatic connection? Like that was what you were meant to do for a living? Like you just loved
Yeah,
it, totally
I
fell in love with
I
it?
couldn't see myself doing something else in my life.
Yeah. Which part of it, like going through the curriculum, did you fall in love with? Other than the smell, of course.
Or
But
Yes.
Renata.
was there like,
Everything
yeah,
about-
was there, of course, Renata, but was there one particular part of it that you gravitated for, like ceramics or the CAD part of it that you liked? And you just like were like, that's it.
Honestly, everything. Ceramics, CAD CAM, that we have in the lab as well. We're digital in Greece in my lab,
Yep.
and it's something that I kind of rely on because my dad is maybe like doing the setups, doing some ceramics. I have a lot of work in CAD CAM,
Yep.
and I design, but I also do setups. Like it's balanced with my father.
Yeah.
It's yeah, everything is balanced, but working with your father sometimes it's overwhelming because you're very comfortable. I'm very comfortable with my dad, so it usually gets hectic sometimes because you have
No.
challenges.
Come on.
You have a lot of challenges in this job,
Oh
and
yeah.
doctors are very
Demanding.
demanding. Yeah, they're very demanding. If a technician can do what's on the gypsum, the doctor also has to work on it on the patient. It's not only my side, but it's their side as well. So I've faced a lot of challenges with that because we had a case where the doctor wanted full zere on the lower part of the jaw, and we did it so many times because the impression was not good at first. The second impression, something was shrinking. Maybe their impression was shrinking. Maybe my gypsum was shrinking. We couldn't really find the problem, and we firstly did sidering, which is the metal that I designed and I sent it to Athens, and then the Athens sent it to me, and I built on porcelain.
Oh, sweet. It's like argon in our country.
Yes, and that went wrong as well. So I'm like, I was talking to my father. I was like, what are we going to do? Like, we have to change something as well. Not only the doctor has to change, but we have to change something. So we got a new dye stone. Maybe my dye stone was wrong. Maybe their impression material was, I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah, you face a lot of challenges, but it all works out in the end, and the most important thing is the patient has to be happy in the end, because if the patient is happy, the dentist is happy, and then the technician is happy.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Yeah.
goes
So
like
true.
that. Yeah.
Do you teach that in the school,
I
Renata?
was just going to say, mission accomplished. She's a troubleshooter, she's a critical thinker, and she's a problem solver. Done. Mission accomplished. What can I say?
How did your dad take to you bringing in digital? Is he excited about it?
Yes, very excited. So he used to work in America. So after that lab he used to work in Astoria, he changed a lot of labs. So the last lab that before he left America it was in a dental office
Mm-hmm.
where there were multiple dentists. There was a general dentist, periodontist, endodontist, orthodontist. So there were all those
Yeah.
dentists that were working with my dad because he was the only technician in that lab.
That's a lot of work.
Wow. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
No
but
pressure there.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, it was a lot, but he managed, and it was very nice to see my father working with implants, mostly implants, because there was a
Mm-hmm.
periodontist in the dental office. So he was doing all kinds of stuff, and I was sometimes going there and looking and seeing what he's working on. In that dental office, he also was scanning with intraocular scanner. The
God.
dental office had. So he was designing also crowns, bridges, everything. And they had the milling machine in there in the lab. So it was just, he was just sending it and it was milling and then it was ready. So he definitely knew digital. And then we recently got the CAD cam because everything is digital now.
Yeah.
And a lot of doctors ask for a zirconia because it's something aesthetic and nice and pleasing, which I understand. And but usually doctors here in Greece, they sometimes want the cheaper way, not the expensive way.
Oh,
I mean, I
interesting.
think that works everywhere, I think.
Yeah.
But you could make PFM that's cheap but looks expensive. So some doctors don't really have to, because doctors know what kind of work we do here. Uh, Me and my father as well. That's what I'm talking about, like me and my father.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We have a lot of PFMs because they like the anatomy, they like everything about it. But we also have the CAD cam that I'm designing. I'm sending it out to another lab here in Greece that I'm very good friends with. And me and my father, we have very good communication. And it's a big lab where they have the milling machine and they cut it for us. It's pretty, in school I learned three shape in New York City College of Technology.
Yeah.
That's what they taught us. But I learned exocad as well, which is something pretty similar to three shape. So it was nothing new to me. I adapted very very fast. And so I do everything. I do temporary bridges. I sent it out to the other lab actually because I am on the lookout to get a 3D printer now.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, because there's a lot of temporaries that doctors are asking. So before like the final job, and so it's pretty good to have CAD cam in the lab. It's everybody's asking. Everybody, you have intraocular scanners coming from other doctors. Mostly the new ones that I've talked to and I'm working with, they have intraocular scanner.
Sure.
So I have to have a CAD
Yep.
cam for me to work.
For sure.
Is that similar in Ethiopia? Do they have intraoral scanners everywhere?
Well, there's so in Ethiopia with dentistry and like having labs, yeah, I would say there aren't enough labs compared to the dental offices that exist in Ethiopia. Basically, dental
Oh.
offices are like
Wow.
Starbucks. They're everywhere. Um, yeah, it's
Really?
everywhere. There's only a few large, big enough, able, enough to have these big machineries because we all know they cost a lot. And if you know, like $1, for example, in my country, back home in Ethiopia, it's around 200 local dollars. So it's a lot.
Yowzers.
When you exchange
That's
it, it comes out to
significant.
a lot. So only a few labs, I believe only 5 labs are big enough to buy these big machines and these or the software. It's expensive. So usually you have second labs in Dubai, in Sweden. We send them out there. They get done and
Makes
then
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
at the same time you have to think of how technologically advanced we are to be able to host all these um, different lab techniques and lab tech machineries to bring them to Ethiopia. Sometimes the doctors are not as equipped to even know what to do. We don't have a lot of endodontists. We have general surgeons to begin with. There
Hmm.
aren't a lot of a variety of doctors to have, for example, implants. For us, we have one doctor out of 5 who knows how to do implants, and when he's working on implants, we send them to our lab in Sweden. We have a partnership there. So it's very hard to get a full spectrum of what you can do dental orally. So it's a little bit more complicated in Ethiopia, I guess.
Yeah, that's fascinating, the
Yeah.
difference. And what is your plan? Are you eventually going to go back to
Yeah.
Ethiopia and work for your father?
I'm gonna be able to do that, yes, but I'm not looking forward to having my dad as my boss. It's complicated.
Let's hope he's
I
not
hope
listening
not.
with his voice.
But yeah, he's the one, who pushed me to come to this program and do this, and saw the potential in me. So I do definitely want to go back and work. And there's more. I feel like there will be more opportunities for me there.
Sure.
Because there are now, when I'm here, I'm looking at the machines we're using at schools, the tools. I'm taking pictures so that I send him back, and he looks at what he has in his lab and is like, oh, we don't need this machine, we already have it. Or he'll be like, oh, this is great. Ask your teachers or your professors, what machine is this and what exactly it does. So he's interested in updating his lab.
Nice. Yeah.
As I'm also, learning here. But yeah, he's definitely a tech guy too himself. So he's always been talking about CAD CAM. Even before I knew what CAD CAM was, he was always like, CAD CAM. I'm like, Dad, what is CAD CAM? So there's only one CAD CAM machine, by the way, in Ethiopia. Only one lab has it. Yeah,
You're kidding me.
It's crazy when you think about it, but yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to upgrade ourselves into becoming better lab tech.
I was going to say, are you going to be the second lab with it?
And at least, having the program or having the machine sometimes doesn't make it better, because you also need the lab technician who knows how to use the
100%.
software.
Yeah.
Right.
And I believe the owner of the lab who has the CAD CAM, she hasn't been able to get a technician who knows how to work it. So it's kind of just been sitting there collecting dust, right? So like I told you, we're always hiring foreigners because we don't have lab technicians in Ethiopia. I think the first batch of graduates was in September last year. The first school opened, and then they finally graduated after 8 months of going to school or something like that. So it's just now starting in Ethiopia. So we're eager to learn.
So I've got to ask this question then, and you might not know the answer, but how did your father gravitate to lab technology when there is so few in Ethiopia? Like, how did he find it?
So I'll be honest with you, it's mainly money. It's all about money. But we were the first lab to open in Ethiopia. So he was always looking to update and upgrade himself, and not only the dental lab, but also the dental office. Since it's attached to everything, the Dental Association in Ethiopia has basically taken our office and our lab offices as a blueprint for the standard of what a dental office or a dental lab should look like. So as we are growing, so is the standard, so is the information for what the standard is. And my dad, having the partnership in Sweden, he would always go and look and see where they're at, what level have they achieved. And he would come back and say, oh, we need this machine, or we need the doctors to go and get training somewhere else. And that's how he got interested. That's how he heard and saw, like, oh, because CAD CAM may be new to us, but I think it's been around for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So it sounds to me like he threw you a line, and then it might be really great working for him, because you can bring all of this knowledge back.
I hope so.
And possibly started there.
Yeah, I hope so.
So when you showed up to the school in New York, what did you think?
Yeah.
Renata was the best. We get that. Yeah,
obviously.
Elvis, don't put words in your mouth.
No, she is the best. But we learned, when I first showed up here, I don't know, I was nervous. It was crazy because I didn't expect it to be so, I guess, disorganized, if that makes sense. I just thought, you go into labs and you're like, there's so much going on. But no, we were, it was great. I was a little nervous at the beginning. Yeah. And then, they set us at our benches and they're like, oh, do this and do that. And actually, Professor Budny, you were our first professor.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the exposure was with Professor
I'm
Budny.
the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
You had the best.
Exactly.
Yep.
After all these years, I'm very surprised.
She was our tooth morphology professor last semester, so we learned from the best.
Oh, thank you.
For sure.
How many students do you have right now, Renata?
Well, right now we have enrolled about 60 students. Yeah, 60 students we enrolled in the fall.
Jeez.
And in the second semester, we have
60?
Yeah, we always enroll 60 students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's our maximum. And actually, for the fourth year, I believe in a row, we have, or even longer, we have the waiting list. So we are very lucky in that respect. I know that other programs struggle.
Yeah, what do you think the difference is, Renata, that you have a waiting list and 60 students? Is it the location? Do you guys do marketing? Is it word of mouth? Is it maybe all of that?
Yearly podcast.
A lot of it, I mean, look, they find us in Ethiopia, so
Yeah, I know. That's
That's what I mean. Like, how?
like we
Do you
get
guys
students
market?
sometimes from other states, we get students from other countries, which is amazing, and we must be doing something right. I don't know, and part of it is probably good luck, you know. Like I'm good luck for you
And
guys
great
for 7
teaching.
years. I'm probably good luck for the program too. No, but we have about 60 students in our first year, 50 students in the second year. So that makes it about 110 students. And last year, we usually take 60 students in the first year, for the first year. So we graduated 38 last year. So that's like 63% of for graduation out of 60 that we entered with.
And how does a technical college such as yours, stay up? Like, do you have different companies that offer you different types of mills or equipment or software? How does that work for you guys? Any way that the podcast can get it out there to possibly help people invest?
Definitely. We are state, city, and federal funded institutions, so we get funding for regular expenses through that. And some years are better, some years are worse. We do have many companies that reach out to us either with materials or with equipment. Even sometimes with materials that are slightly expired, we can still use them in a classroom
Sure.
for projects. So we always appreciate that. When it comes to equipment, we have to be very careful because it's going to be very easy for us to just bring the equipment and never use it, so we have to be careful
Yeah.
of how we can adapt it to our projects in a classroom. And if we find a use for it and we can adapt it, we can take it as a tax deductible donation, probably for the company. But then again, we have to be able to use it in a college, and it has to be in a working condition. So we do work
Yeah.
with many companies, and we do get tax exemption and deals for educational institutions when it comes to CAD/CAM and some other equipment that we work with. We always look for different quotes from different companies, and so we do have a lot of good equipment for many projects. We are currently changing projects on regular basis to digital projects. Just we also have to comply with CODA, and I have to say that CODA is coming next week for the site visit. That happens every 7 years. This time around it's happening every 8 years because of COVID was postponed for a year.
Yeah.
But that's a big deal because they taking a snapshot in time, and they checking if we comply with the standards. And even the standards change. So there was a standard change from doing, for example, soldering. We no longer have to do soldering in a classroom. So we can empty that bucket in that part of the class, and we can put some digital projects, for example. And that's what we're working on. So it's constantly in flux, the curriculum, and we are constantly trying to improve. And having that many students and many faculty, it's a big project.
Can you really quickly tell our audience what the difference is between a CODA accredited school? What does that mean?
Okay, so CODA is Commission on Dental Accreditation, and it accredits all the dental programs, all dental hygiene, all dental assisting and dental therapy programs, and dental technology programs. So any reputable program out there that is dental is going to be CODA accredited. That's the only accrediting body that we have at the moment, and it's through American Dental Association. So American Dental Association is the big umbrella. CODA is under them, but it's also sponsored in a way by education department United States Department of Education. So all these accrediting bodies have to go through the Department of Education. And so this is ours. And so I've been on many CODA site visits as I am a site visitor as well. So we know exactly what it means. There's 5 standards. They pertain to faculty, they pertain to curriculum, to the institution, to emergencies, like when it comes to even COVID was part of that, different kinds of emergencies and facilities and things like that. So we have to comply with all of these standards. And CODA checks on us, and then every 7 years comes and actually visits in place, sends the visitors, and they check on all these standards if we complying with everything. And if we don't, we get the slap on the wrist. We have to fix it. We have to show that we fixed it, how we fixed it. They look through it again, and they give us, they continue giving us accreditation. So accreditation is not something you get once. You have to continuously work towards it, kind of like you have a CDT, and you have to constantly learn and renew your CDT. That's how we have to renew our accreditation.
Huh. Well, thank you for answering that. That was pretty clear. I was a little confused because we hear that every so often, but I didn't really recognize exactly what it meant. So thank you.
You also asked me, Barb, about non-accredited programs. So the non-accredited programs, because they don't have to comply with all these standards, they don't have to be 2-year programs. We have to be 2-year programs. They don't have to necessarily teach crown and bridge ceramics, dentures, partial dentures, all of the facets of dental technology and anatomy and occlusion and some other aspects of it. They can just concentrate on fixed or just removable, and they can offer those programs. So there's a lot more flexibility in non-accredited programs, but then accredited have certain standards and have to comply with those standards.
Wow.
When either of you looked at this school, did that even register that it was a CODA?
No, not at first until Professor Budny actually explained it to us.
Yeah.
And what CODA was, because I had no idea how it was when I first walked in. But now I know I go to a school that is CODA accredited, and that's pretty cool.
It's definitely a flex. It's definitely a flex.
Exactly. It is a flex. Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think the institutions also appreciate accredited programs because they know they have to comply with standards. So when students graduate from this program, they know that they carry with them certain knowledge and experiences. And that's not just something pertaining to dentistry, but it's also in ophthalmology and engineering and architecture and other fields that have their own accreditations.
Yeah. So, Siva, when you graduated, you walk in, you open up a lab in Greece, you're good to go. Did you learn everything you needed to know in school?
I mean, I would say if you don't get on the bench, and you don't start looking what you have in front of you, what kind of case you have in front of you, you don't really, you have to practice.
You have to do it.
Every day you will learn something new. I still every day learn something new on the job. So definitely I learned the basics and everything important, not to do wrong, not to do mistakes. But definitely you will know on the job. You will know once you get on that bench and you start working. Definitely one of the things that you have to have in this job is patience.
No doubt. Yeah.
If you sometimes lose it, you just go out, get some fresh air, and just take a breath and just
that's fun.
Leave it.
Maybe that's how they do it in Greece, but
yeah, exactly. And just start again. It gets frustrating. It's normal for this job, but I love the job though.
Yeah.
I can't. It gets frustrating, but I love the job.
Do you guys get to see?
I have the opportunity to. Sometimes the doctor calls me and he's like, "Seva, come because this is not sitting right. What is wrong with that? They need assisting also. They need the technician's hand somewhere, because sometimes one of the doctors is afraid to touch the restoration, to even just grind it a little bit. So they're afraid that they're gonna break. They're afraid. So it's important for me to be there and they want me there. I like they call me and they're like, come, because I don't know like what to do. So I have the opportunity to see patients. I have the opportunity to see smiles that I make,
Yes, I
which
love
is
that.
very, very nice to see. I get so happy. Like the most important thing is I see the patient smiling and they're happy with what they're wearing, you know?
Heck yeah.
It's very nice to see, you know?
And I think it's a learning experience too when you actually get to see the restorations and you see the
Mhm.
lips and the smile and you meet that emotion and the
Yeah.
happiness and the gratitude and all of that. It really
Yeah.
takes what we do to another level. Like there's just no other feeling like that, I feel.
Whenever my dad, when I was in school, my dad used to always show me, always put your thumb on top of the gypsum, like on top of the restoration, to see what the patient's lips would look
Yeah.
like.
Yep.
It was one of the things that he first taught me and told me,
Yeah.
when I started my first wax ups, and it was I still do it every day. Like you can't just not see what the patient's lips look, how it shows on the restorations.
Do you do that, Barb?
Yeah, I was just gonna say my dad taught me that as well. Yeah, you kind of like hold it and you use your thumb and you put it over the gingival area and it's almost like, it shows you the shadowing and yes, absolutely.
Renata, do you teach that at the school?
I do mention it to students, but having them in the first semester gets a little clumsy sometimes.
Oh yeah,
So
I
if they
bet.
remember when they leave, it's a different story because it's overwhelming amount of information and I have to give them that. In each class, they have 4 classes and it's material class, morphology class, fixed prosthodontics and dentures. So imagine, learning everything all at once and things
It's
behind it and
crazy.
theory. It's crazy, right? Yeah.
That's a lot.
Does it seem like there's a lot to learn that first year?
That first semester, it's a lot of information. And sometimes some classes it could be a little bit overwhelming, others you're just like, oh, it's okay because you learned it in a different class. And sometimes it's repetition, which is good because the information will stay in your head.
Yeah.
But it is the first, like, I'm going to say half of the semester you're a little overwhelmed. It's your first time doing most of these projects, using these tools, and sometimes the projects just come out looking a little wonky, and
Not as good as you'd like,
yeah,
but yeah,
and
yeah.
it's your first time, you're like trying to be perfect at it, you're trying to be good, and you don't even have the experience. It's kind of crazy, but after a while you get more comfortable. Like I said, you get this idea, this is not the end all be all. You have to keep practicing.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe Professor Budny was like. We had tooth morphology with her, so we waxed, and she's like, "Oh, this is just wax. Don't worry." And she like scrapes the wax that you worked so hard on. And she's like, "It's okay. It's wax.
Well,
Don't
first thing I
worry."
teach them to actually break the coping,
She
right?
breaks it, and your heart is broken.
I'm
She's
like, I gotta break your heart at first, and then you're not gonna be broken ever
yes,
again.
and it's crazy,
I
It's
but
teach them how
Renata's
to break
favorite
their
part.
heart. Yes, it is.
and we have to do that in dentures, by the way. I can't believe we
Break the denture.
we worked that hard so that they can break it, and I don't know if I can watch that. I don't know if I can watch him break it, but yeah, so it's a fun roller coaster. Yeah.
People leave emotionally drained, but they're
A
dental
little
technicians.
But guess what happens by the end of 2 years? They don't want to leave.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
students are like, I can't wait when I'm done? And they like, I don't want to leave by the end of the 2 years.
Yeah.
Sevastiani, if you still miss us, I'll take
I
a visit.
I think of you every day. I think of you.
See.
But it's very hard for me to come for now. It's very hard. But I will come. I want to visit the school. I talked to Shenardo. I asked him like, how are the professors? Have you gotten there? Like, trying to like catch up and see where everybody's at. I know Shash is doing very well. I'm very proud of her. Yeah, and I'm very proud of everybody. Everybody I've seen, because I have them on social media. They're becoming something successful, and I'm very proud of them, all of them.
That's got to be fun.
Is
Go
the
ahead.
student group pretty tight knit? Is it like every year? I mean, friendships are found and resources are shared for years after?
Yeah, for sure. I think that my class, we were pretty together.
Yeah.
Like,
And you're still keeping in touch on social media, you mentioned. So social
yeah,
media will do that. That's a great venue.
Yeah, but the first group you're with, you have that shared, yeah, the shared
Suffering.
experience, the suffering, all that. So you kind of tend to stick with that. We plan our schedules for like the next semester. We're like, what class are you taking? We should do schedule A and B, and we're trying to stick together. So I think that's the many reasons why we'll have like shared experience after we're done graduating.
So, Rebca, how long do you have left? So, you're in your first, or where are you at in the program?
So this is our second semester, but it's our first year in the program. So I have one more year.
When does this semester end?
Maybe May, right?
By the end of May, yeah.
May. And is there a summer break?
They
Yeah.
give us a summer break, thank goodness.
Are you going to go work at a lab or what's?
Well, that's where I was leading to. So, who are you living with, and like, what do you do on the off time? And
I live on my own I'm lucky enough to have to live on my own here in New York, but
wow.
usually I visit families during my breaks. I have family here in the US, so I go and visit them, or I go back home. That's what I did for Christmas break. I went back to Ethiopia. It was the summertime there. Oh, so we're opposite weather.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was very sunny. It was great. It was hot. We went to the pool, and then I came back here, and it was -3 degrees. Take me back home. But we do have an internship coming this semester, our externship, right, Professor?
Yes.
In the summertime, so we get to experience what a real lab looks like, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. So we kind of get an idea how it actually functions, and we get to work there. And I'm kind of excited for that part.
How do you find those? Do you have to
Yeah, I was
find
gonna
them?
say,
or-
Renata, that's probably got to be you guys, right, Renata?
Yeah.
Yeah, we sign up for like which borough we want to stay in. We sign up at the beginning of the semester. They will assign us a lab, but then I believe we have to contact them.
Yes. So we have the externship program in a college for our program, and we have a bunch of prosthodontists and laboratories that we're associated with, and they're very supportive. They're extremely good to us, and they always take a couple of students for the externship, which is scheduled for 24 hours. So which means like 3 days of 8 hours. But
Oh, wow.
what ends up being is that if the place is willing and the student wants to come and just observe, they let them come and observe or maybe do little tasks. So they really go there mainly to observe, but if they get to do something, it's great. And if they go to the lab, more likely they will do something. But if they go to the dentist office that has in-house lab, maybe they go into clinical setting and the doctor shows them how he's prepping the tooth or inserting the crown or a bridge or something like this. Or they just hang out with the technicians and they take care of them and show them around and show them what they're doing. Part of the color requirement as well.
I like that because you're either going to stay or you're going to run.
Right.
Right. And some of these externships end up being the future jobs.
Oh, sure.
So,
Right.
yeah, many of the externships would hire our students, and it's just reciprocal relationship, which we really love.
Where did you go, Siva?
I actually I had my team and we interviewed my father in the dental office that he was working with.
Oh, wow.
So I got to have a Zoom meeting, and I was with my father and my teammates. They were Zoom meeting with my father, and they were asking him questions, everything about the job, how many years he's been a technician, everything. Yeah.
And the reason she had the Zoom meeting was because this was during COVID.
Oh, that's right.
When
Yeah.
everything stopped and we couldn't go to the lab. So we created, something instead of going on the externship, they still had the experiences, which was wonderful.
Yeah. You got the bum deal, though.
It was. I
Yeah.
remember those late nights when we stayed in the lab till 8 p.m. It was a late lab, and Seva was going home with her parents, and they were coming to get her and stuff. So, yeah,
Wow.
good time.
Yeah.
This day, when I see students and they say, "Oh, I graduated this and this year," and I don't recognize them because they were constantly in a mask, so you don't
Yeah.
remember Yeah, but when she's talking about Zoom, I'm like, wait, usually they are in person. So that's the only reason, yeah.
So your lab now, Siva, is it just you and your dad, or?
Just me and my father. Yeah, just me and my father. My mom is also in the kind of business. She sends out the
Yeah, the
costs, like
invoices and stuff. Yeah.
the invoices, yeah. So she helps out with that a lot, and she picks up the phone.
Yeah.
Oh
Like a
yeah.
good secretary.
That's a hard job.
Yeah, because sometimes me and my father don't have the time to just except if a doctor needs to talk to
Yep.
us, because usually the dental assistants call us if they have something. She also does the deliveries and the pickups
Oh, wow.
because me and
Oh,
my
that's
yeah,
nice.
yeah, because me and my father can't go out of the lab because we have work.
Yep.
You know, if you get out of the bench, you sometimes lose
Momentum?
the yeah,
Yeah.
where you're working, you lose your
Yeah,
track.
for sure.
So yeah,
Eh,
we have mom for
Are
that.
you always going to keep it family, or are you looking to expand and hire other people and pick people from the New York school to come and move to Greece?
I mean, I want them. When I tell Shinato, my classmate, I tell him, when are you gonna come to Greece? I want to show you my lab.
Yeah.
There you go.
Totally said, like, I want them to come see it, and hopefully one of my professors comes as well. Like I
I'm
really
coming. I'm coming.
want
Aw, I love that. I want to go too. Can I go with you, Renata?
You want a podcast
You're
to show up?
Yeah, let's
I
go.
want to go to
of
Greece.
course, of course. You're all welcome to come.
Ethiopia too.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love it.
In the future, I want to, when my dad usually when he gets retired, I don't know how I'm gonna manage all the work.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely gonna have somebody that's gonna do like the plaster work, like I'm thinking the plaster work and the most basic stuff. Because my father, when he was alone, he had a person that he was also a dental technician, but he had him to work at the basic stuff like
Yeah,
plaster
sure.
work, articulating, maybe like setting up the teeth, but ceramics and everything else my dad was working
Yeah.
on.
That's actually really smart because he might just be working 20-hour days if he didn't have somebody doing some of that for
Exactly.
him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes the doctors, they want the fast delivery, and
Yep.
it's when you're by yourself and you're working by yourself, it's you can't do that. Like you don't have the ability to be fast when you're by yourself. So, one of the things that me and my father have right now is we're fast delivery. We have good work and we're fast delivery because we think of the patient not having the restoration is it's not comfortable. Like, and
Yeah,
for the
for sure.
dentist and for the patient. So we just work fast, it's something that we have as a lab.
And that's great too because, 5-day turnaround time, the dentist is happy, the patient's happy. Hopefully you
Exactly.
guys are getting paid on time, so it all
Exactly.
works out.
Exactly. Yep, for sure.
Yep.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, Rebca, good luck on your next year. I'm sure you're going to
Yeah.
be super successful in
Thank you.
the second CAD CAM lab in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
We want you to come back on and tell us that story
Oh,
once
I
you get
will.
that up and running.
Oh, I will for sure. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And Siva, amazing. And thank you for joining us so late at night from Greece.
Yeah, it's midnight.
it.
Thank you. I'm not going to bed yet, so don't worry about
You
it.
probably
Good.
still have more work
I
to
don't
do,
feel so
right?
bad then.
Yes, yes, and I'm gonna go early morning tomorrow in the lab, so I have work to do. But I'm very thankful, very happy to have the opportunity. Thank you for inviting me. It was very nice to have you guys and meeting
Yeah,
you,
thank you.
even just only with voices. But hopefully one day I get to meet all
Oh
of
no,
you
we're all
and
showing
I
Rebecca.
up.
hope
We're all going to
so.
show up one
Yes,
day.
we're coming.
I'm
Yeah,
waiting for you in Rose
Yeah.
Street
I hope your
for
lab is
sure.
big
you
enough
know
for
it.
all four of us.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty big, so don't worry about it.
And Renata, of course, much love. Thank you
Anything
so
I can
much.
do, you know where to find me.
Well,
Yes.
in
Happy
11 and a
7.
half months, I'll be reaching out. So
I'll be here.
thank you, everybody. And
Thank you all.
again,
Thank
just
Thank
keep
you.
doing what you're doing, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I would just like to acknowledge for 1 second how well Elvis pronounced those names, because they were not easy. And we all know, if you listen to our podcast, it's kind of an ongoing joke, but it's not. He's not great with names. So good job. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging. 7 years later, still have no idea.
But a huge thanks to Renata, Seva, and Rebca for coming on our podcast to celebrate our 7th year of talking to people in our industry. There are not a lot of schools left, in case anybody knows that, in the U.S., but Renata at her school and her team are killing it by educating some passionate young people, as we can just tell by talking to Seba and Rebca. And I'll tell you what, this was Renata's episode, man. She's a genius. So Thank you, Seba, for taking time out of your busy lab to talk to us and sharing your amazing story. We wish you a ton of success, and we will definitely be showing up at your lab in Greece one day. I think that's a great idea. So be prepared.
Yeah.
And thank you, Rebca. Super awesome. You shared your great story of living with an amazing family history of dentistry in Ethiopia. Like, who would have thought? Love talking to her. So we know you will graduate with all the knowledge that you need to take it to the next level. So good luck to you. Good luck to everybody. And again, thank you, Renata. We will talk to you on our 8th year.
All right, everybody. Heading out to IDS, so we will definitely talk to you next week.
Yep, safe travels, my friend. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye. Yeah, we're going to see this, we're going to see that, we're going to see this, we're going to see that. And I'm like, when do we sleep and eat? The views and opinions expressed on the Voices from the Bench podcast are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the host or Voices from the Bench, LLC.